Jersey's own Zach Gelb. Or maybe it's Pennsylvania. Anyhow, it's one of the two, I'm pretty sure. The Zach Gelb Show continues on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
Welcome back, Zach Gelb Show. 4:40 is the time in the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios. Matt Rhule's press conference will be coming up at the top of the hour as he'll be introduced as the new Baylor football coach leaving Temple University. And now joining us on the hotline, someone that is not leaving the Philadelphia area. That is Marc Narducci from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Does a phenomenal job covering the Temple Owls and also the Philadelphia Eagles, and he joins us right now. Marc, appreciate a few minutes, and how are you?
I'm doing great, Jack. Good to talk to you.
Well, thank you for coming on, as always. So let me ask you, though, real quickly, when you first heard the news, the reaction that Matt Rhule was leaving Temple University, what was your reaction?
My reaction was shock, only because there weren't that many jobs open. You didn't hear his name with Oregon, which apparently, obviously it was. And I just thought this year he'd be able to slide through. But obviously Baylor made a great push for him and really wanted him. And I think the other thing is, Zach, Baylor needs an image makeover. And if they're going to do that, they wanted to hire a guy, with the integrity and the reputation of a guy like Matt Rhule, who's also been a big winner.
No question about it. And when I first heard it, I said, it's an interesting fit, because I had your colleague Mike Jensen on, and we both agreed that we thought Matt would be here next year. But then when you look at it, you see all what he's done for Temple, you can't really blame the man for leaving, especially with the 7-year commitment. And that's another thing. Matt is very good, as you know, at building up a program. What he did after Steve Adazio left here from Temple University, got this Temple football program to levels that they've never seen, and it looks like they're going to give him the patience out there in Baylor with a nice big 7-year contract.
Yeah, I'm hearing it's a 6-year, but we'll see about that. But whatever, your point is well taken on that. The other thing is, Zach, now is the time to do it, because you look, and I wrote this today, you look at next year's schedule, it's tougher. They open at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going to be obviously better than they are this year. They play tougher crossover games in the AAC against Houston, Navy, Tulsa. They lose a 4-year starting quarterback in Philadelphia. They lose a lot of seniors. Chances are they aren't going to be this good next year. So if he's going to strike and the time to strike, this was it.
What do you look for in the next Temple football head coach? What are some characteristics that you want to see the next Temple football coach have?
Well, the sort of the same as Matt, who really placed a high emphasis on toughness. He got all those guys that were, quote, 2-star recruits or had no other offers, like Tyler Matakevich, and, he became an All-American. But he wants guys that are tough, that can be coached, and that are hungry. And he really seemed to excel at getting guys like that and bringing them to a new level. Like a guy like Hassan Reddick, who was a walk-on, who's now a unanimous choice as AAC All-Defensive Player. So I think that's what you want. You want a motivator the way he was. You want a guy who has toughness, and you want a guy who, strategy-wise, can do the job. It's a lot to ask.
I know that the Temple football program is never going to be the preeminent job in America, and some fans, they don't want to hear that look and are fans of this Temple football team. However, it is used as a stepping stone job. When it comes to finding that next head coach, do you just try to find the best candidate out there, or do you maybe try to explore and get a guy that has Temple ties and that is a graduate of the university that may last here a little bit longer than 4 years? I know Matt did have Temple ties, but which route do you think they go? Do they just go for the best candidate that may be a stepping stone job, or do they go for someone that could be a little bit longer?
No, they go for the best candidate, Zach, because a lot of people thought that Matt Rhule would certainly be at Temple for a long time, as you mentioned, 10 years there as an assistant and everything. But you get success here, and the kind of money that was offered. Now, I know he was making good money at Temple. We had today, he was making over $2 million there. But that money was way more than doubled at Baylor with this new contract. And you can say, it's a lot of money either way. That's fine. But it's not just the money. It's the chance to play for a national championship. Realistically, you don't have that chance here at Temple. I'm not sure how much of a chance you'll have at Baylor either, but you have a better one better one there. And you're in the Power 5, and that's what these guys, that's what they want to do. They want to coach with the big boys, and now he's in there with them.
You make a great point because Matt Rhule couldn't have done a better coaching job this year, especially with the way that the season started off. And really, the best reward for Temple this year would be going to the Cotton Bowl, and they just won the most rigorous conference outside of the Power 5, and they don't even get to the Cotton Bowl. So once again, Mark, I really just can't blame the guy for leaving, and my message to Temple fans, and that's what I opened up with the show with yesterday, is you should be thanking Matt Rhule instead of criticizing him. It's all right to be a little bit upset because you just had a good era of football, but it's time to thank Matt Rhule, correct?
Well, I think so, and this is the system that they're in, Zach, and this is not going to change. There are coaches all around that are leaving programs, going to higher things, getting paid higher. The only thing I wish that would change is if a coach leaves, I wish the kids didn't have to keep their commitments. So it's a little bit of a double standard. The coaches can go anywhere they want. The kids are bound to where they're bound to. So it's very inconsistent. These guys are getting rich, and the kids get left back.
Marc Narducci with us right now from the Philadelphia Inquirer. If you had to give me a few names, and I know there's no concrete names, but some people that you would like to see to get this Temple job, who would be some names that you would like to see?
Well, I'll tell you what. Ed Foley's been named the interim, as you know, and I know Ed is not, quote, a sexy name and all that, but the guy's been with this program. He's been through 2 other coaching changes. He's been a head coach on the college level. He knows this area left and right, and that's what you need in a recruiter. And I'd at least like to see him get a legitimate shot, which I believe he will. I mean, I'd be surprised if they hired him, but I'd like to see him get that. The other thing, and I'm really curious, because I know Matt Rhule would want to bring Phil Snow with him. Phil Snow is known as this career long-time assistant, but what he's done with this defense has been masterful. And you just wonder if a guy like that would want to be a head coach. I'm sure that they're going to explore with him. I certainly like these in-house options, and I'm sure there are plenty of other out-of-house options, and they're going to be exploring. I've been told they've been blown away with how many candidates and people are interested in this job.
Now, it's a big job for Pat Kraft, the athletic director, his first coaching search, because the last AD, Bill Bradshaw, was the one that hired Matt Rhule. Where's your confidence level in Dr. Patrick Kraft?
Very high. I think he's a tremendously competent athletic director. If you look at what they've done with the other sports programs and everything like that, and he was just put on that 40 under 40 list, one of the top sports executives in the country. He was honored out in Los Angeles. I think he's an excellent executive. I think they're lucky to have him, and I think I have all the confidence in the world he'll do a good job.
Now, let me ask you this. When it comes to the game being played on December 27th, we're still going to see which one of Matt's assistants go to Baylor to join him, but that doesn't mean they still can't be involved with this program for the bowl game on the 27th. We know Matt clearly won't be coaching the game on the 27th. That would be Ed Foley. When it comes to getting these kids to buy back in after all they've just been through, just winning a championship and now having their coach leave, where is your confidence level these kids will buy back in and be ready for the 27th?
I think it's very high because if you look at it, Zach, who are the guys that are the main guys on the team? It's the guys who are seniors who are going out. I could see the hesitancy on the underclassmen, but the seniors want to go out on top. They certainly want to show Matt Rhule that they can win this game with him or without him. So I expect that to be very high. I don't expect that to be any bit of a concern. And if you're underclassmen, you're auditioning already for this. So I expect to see a motivated team. Now, again, as you know, last year in the Boca Raton Bowl, Temple did not come to play. I don't think they came out with that same fire. But this year is different. They've ended the season much better. They're on a 7-game winning streak. So, no, I don't expect this to affect them adversely one bit.
And also, like you were saying with Ed Foley, I just have a lot of confidence in him. I don't know if he's the right fit for the head coach, but in terms of the bowl game, that guy is truly Temple made. He's been around the block here at Temple forever, and these players, they love him. They call him the swag coach, as you know, because he's the one that leads high hopes after the game. And you even saw it on the field on Saturday after they beat Navy. Colin Thompson gave him a big hug. There's a lot of mutual respect from these players to Ed Foley.
Oh, there's no question. And I do think that, Matt got a lot of credit for this, and rightly so, but I think there's something in all these people that said, all of us did this, and we want to show them that we can do it, whether he's here or not.
It's a good point. Marc Narducci from the Philadelphia Inquirer with us right now. All right, let's get to the Eagles. They've been a disaster ever since the 3-0 start, and you saw a lack of effort in the ball game against the Packers, and then just in Cincinnati, you saw Zach Ertz not make a block and the quarterback go out of bounds, avoiding Burfict. Then you saw Rodney McLeod just look like his feet were in quicksand and not attack a Jeremy Hill as he scored a touchdown. What do you expect from the Birds the next 4 games? Because they got to show a little bit more effort, Mark.
Well, I expect them this game coming up against the Redskins, Zach, to really show the effort, because whether you speculate on McLeod, and McLeod has said his feet got caught up in him, blah, blah, blah. Ertz had said he thought that Wentz was going out and he didn't need the block. That's all fine. But when you have the coach on a Monday after the game who was calling out the effort of some players who he didn't mention by name, I think that if they don't respond to that, then they're never going to respond. So I would expect a pretty big effort from them. The other thing is, though, this game means a ton to Washington, and Washington obviously needs it more than the Eagles. The Eagles need it more for their psyche. Washington needs it to stay in what's looking like a pretty tight wild card race.
And I don't expect Jim Schwartz, after Peterson said that the effort needs to improve, to throw Rodney McLeod under the bus. And McLeod and Ertz could deny it all they want, but still, you're down 29-0 on the road to a 3-win team. That just screams lack of effort to me, Mark.
Well, and you're down to a team that was banged up, not very good, and without 2 of its best offensive players. I mean, they didn't even have to worry about Bernard or A.J. Green, and that offense still was rolling. So the other question you have to ask, Zach, about these guys is, are they that talented? I mean, you look at it, we've heard all the build-up, we know about the 3-0 start, 2 games against 2 very bad teams, and they did beat a good Steelers team. There's no question about it. But how good really is this team? And I think it has a long way to go. You look at the receiving core, you look at the running backs. Matthews continues to get hurt. The offensive line, so they have not recovered from losing Lane Johnson too. That's been one of the biggest factors this season as well. But this is a team that certainly needs a lot of talent, and I think has underperformed on defense as well. Remember all the talk about, we're afraid that some team's going to swoop up Jim Schwartz as a head coach. I don't think there's going to be a lot of interviews this offseason with Jim Schwartz.
I'd be surprised if he get one, just the way that this team and that defensive line, the strength of it has really regressed during the course of the season after the 3-0 start, especially in the bigger games of the season with playoff hopes and keeping them in the playoff race still on the line. Though you do bring up a great point, because you're exactly right. This team just doesn't have the talent. Let's remember what our expectations were before the year. They were 6-7 wins. People at the apex were trying to sell you at 500, or maybe they go 9-7 if every single thing clicks right. The man in charge of bringing in the talent to draft the next cornerbacks, to get the next wide receivers in free agency, enhance the offensive line, is Howie Roseman. And he doesn't have the best track record here in Philadelphia. Do you have confidence in Howie Roseman?
I'll take a wait and see, give him a chance, because here's the thing about him. He's mortgaged so much of the future. I know they have the first-round pick from the Vikings, but they lost their own first-round pick. They've lost second. So it's going to be, I think, tough to rebuild. He did get Carson Wentz. If you believe in Carson Wentz, and I believe Carson Wentz can be a good quarterback, then you've got to give Howie Roseman credit for that, because he engineered that, he moved up for that. So I'll take a wait and see on. He certainly has to do a better job with this roster, and probably starting at the receiver position.
Mark, final one for you. There's always speculation ever since the Eagles got rid of Deshaun Jackson and Chip Kelly cut him, and he went then to the Redskins. People always speculate, and even more so this year when the Eagles have so many holes at wide receiver, if Deshaun Jackson will ever make a return to Philadelphia. Free agent at the end of the year. If you're the Eagles, would you maybe express some interest in Deshaun Jackson in this offseason?
No question. There's no question I would. Now, here's the thing, Zach. He continues to get nicked up. I mean, you saw him last week, though. He can still go deep, and he can still be dangerous. The question I have with Jackson now at this stage, as he's a 30-year-old receiver, is going to be his durability. So I would watch how much I would put into him, but there's no question I would at least explore the option.
Marc Narducci, appreciate the time as always. See you tonight at the Temple game.
Yeah, my pleasure, Zach. Thanks.
Thanks so much. Marc Narducci joining us on the hotline right there from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Does a great job covering the Eagles and also Temple football. What we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break. Time right now in the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios, 4:56. When we get back, it looks like we'll be able to broadcast Matt Rhule's press conference. He's going to be the new Baylor head coach. We'll hear what Matt Rhule has to say as he has left Temple University for Baylor. More of the Zach Gelb Show when we come back.